This is a podcast by WellHouse Church, where personal spiritual growth is fueled through a variety of practices rather than a single prescriptive time of devotion, where we discuss different spiritual practices that help us be more present with God, others, and ourselves. What's going on, practitioners?
What's up?
We're back with another prayer practice this week.
We are.
Lament prayer.
It could not be more fitting either.
Why do you say that?
Pretty significant 1-year anniversary happened this past week. The death of George Floyd.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not realize that, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
true.
I think, I don't know, especially growing up the way we did, there was a lot of talk, more for men explicitly, but I think women got it too. It's like, shut up. Deal with your feelings. Nobody wants to care. Nobody cares how you feel. Like, just man up. Do it.
Man up.
And honestly, that's really unhealthy.
Yeah. Pull up your bootstraps.
Yeah. That's really unhealthy.
That's what we call toxic masculinity.
Yeah. And lots of times people just need to lament.
Yeah.
They need to be angry. They need to be sad. They need to feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
They need to experience that pain.
Now, there's a healthy way to do that, and
Correct.
there's an unhealthy way to do that.
Yes.
And the lament prayer could be a healthy way for you to do that.
Yes. So, once again, we're not good readers of our Bible.
Yeah.
And so people often forget, credit to Andrew Barrett for helping point this out to me, but there's an entire book of the Bible called Lamentations.
Mm-hmm.
And it's legit just people lamenting.
Mm.
It's okay to lament.
Yeah.
Like, Adele defines Prayer of Lament this way. She says, prayers of lament are ways to approach God with the realities of sorrow, frustration, and angst that consume and distract. And she says the desire there is to take my complaints, anger, sufferings, frustration, and heartaches to God. Yes. Why?
Yeah.
Do you believe the statement, God is my everything?
What do you mean, do I believe it?
Like, if somebody was like, yeah, God is my everything, you'd be like, yeah. You'd like, yeah, attaboy, yeah.
No, probably not.
No, God is not your everything.
Wait, what do you, when you say that, are you asking me if God is my everything?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I try. But
No,
like,
I didn't, yeah.
like I don't
mean
understand what you're.
conceptually, like in the idea, is God everything to you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, then why isn't he the place that it would be okay to lament?
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, that I never really understood this idea where, and I don't know that anybody ever told me I couldn't pray like that. Like I couldn't do prayer of lament, but I'm also not sure it was ever really talked about.
Well,
And so I just, because it was never affirmed, I just kind of assumed that you couldn't do it.
Well, and that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. As guys, we were told, deal with your crap, right?
Yeah.
Just suck it up.
Yeah.
Move on, press forward. So if that was what you were told and that's what you were taught and that's how your brain was programmed, you probably didn't feel like you could pray about it. Because, God is presented as a male.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't care about my crap either.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah.
And so even though I'd read the Psalms, and now understanding that those are David's prayers, like, or most of them, that dude seems like he's always lamenting.
Yeah.
He's always upset. God, where are you? They're trying to kill me. Strike them dead. Like,
yeah.
that dude is always lamenting.
He's always got something negative going on in his life that he's praying about.
And don't we all always have something negative in our life?
Yep.
There's some level of sorrow or discomfort and frustration for every person in every season.
Yep.
Adele writes this. Do you ever feel like life is full of unfixables? They keep you sleepless and threaten to swallow hope whole. Wonderful women grieve their singleness. Spouses grieve over their marriage or the cancer that ravages their beloved. Parents grieve their children's choices. People we love may move away or die. Sorrow can show up in a heartbeat. Isn't that true?
Yeah.
We are all one phone call away from sorrow.
Yeah.
We are all one decision away from sorrow.
Yeah.
It can happen so quickly.
Yep.
And frustrations and things that are outside of our control, right? If you were eyeing that promotion and you thought you were going to get it and you don't get it, that's not in your control. But that can be devastating.
Yep.
It's in moments like this where we need lament.
Yeah.
We need a space where we can go and voice that pain. We need a place to unload all that stress and anxiety and all the negative emotions that we're feeling there. What better place than God? But we don't. We'll go vent to a friend.
Yeah.
We'll go vent to a parent. We'll go vent to our spouse. But isn't venting and lament almost the same thing?
I've never thought about it like that, but yeah.
I think they're pretty close. Now, truth is, if you were in true grief or like mourning,
right,
you might not vent.
right.
But most of the time we vent,
It's lament.
it's lament.
Yeah. I never thought about it like that. But yeah, I think that's fair.
So go back and think over the last week. How many times have you vented? Just like, oh man, I just need to get some stuff off my chest. And I'm pretty upset about it. I got some kind of negative emotion about it. 5 times?
Probably.
Yeah. How many times did you do prayer lament?
None. Maybe a couple times, like driving to work, like, God, like,
Yeah.
get me out of this job
Yeah.
or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, make this go away.
Yeah.
But
Clayton's not talking about this job.
no. I'm just talking about like having to get up and go to work and the monotony of that nonsense. But I do most of my WellHouse work, at home, but or at my other office.
Yeah.
But the New Oxford American Dictionary definition of lament is a passionate expression of grief or sorrow. So if that's what you call venting, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Especially when you put it in a spiritual sense where you offer prayer of lament and any negative emotion. So you include anger and frustrations in there. It's definitely venting.
Yeah.
Now, there might be some lament that's not venting.
Right.
But all venting, I'm pretty convinced, is lament. But we don't put those on God.
Right.
It's, I almost think, and it's funny to use this illustration, but remember in 21 Jump Street where Schmidt, the character played by Jonah Hill, is praying to Korean Jesus in the church, and Ice Cube, their detective, sees
Don't bother
him
Korean Jesus.
Yeah, he busy.
He don't care about your
he
problems.
Got time for you. He busy with Korean stuff. It's funny. It's also a bit sacrilegious, and I understand that. But
It's a little bit.
I'm a student of comedy, so I can laugh.
He busy.
With Korean stuff. Yeah. I feel like we approach God that way.
I think we do, honestly.
Like he's too busy for our problems.
Yeah.
And so, but we'll gladly ask him for raises and bigger houses and all kind. So he's not too busy to hear the crap we need from him, but he's too busy to just be a person that we're in such deep relationship with that we feel is a safe space to go when we need to vent.
Yeah.
He's not that for us. I think as I stop and look back, I think in my times where I felt closest to God, I can chart them on a map based on answering the question, was I doing prayer of lament in that season? Because if I would rather go to somebody else to vent than to God, God and I weren't the strongest relationship in my life at that time. When God and I are rocking solid, I do prayer of lament because he's the person that I want speaking in at these moments of pain.
Yeah. That's a really interesting perspective. I hadn't ever thought about, we talk about this all the time, like the tradition we grew up in doesn't teach these sorts of prayer practices, right? And
Not explicitly.
Not explicitly. So I'm learning a lot of them for the first time right now.
Yeah.
And I had never thought about, so like prayer of lament is a thing that we all do just, I guess, spontaneously.
Yeah, you might not know to call it that.
But that's what you do.
If you've been mad and you've prayed about it,
yeah,
you've
that's prayer
done
of
lament. Yeah.
And I've never thought about it, though, in like correlation of if I go to my friends to lament rather than to go to God.
Yeah.
Because we all have that friend that we call up like, you'll never believe the crap that just happened, right? But we never go to God and say, you'll never believe the crap that just happened, right? We never do that.
For me, it's a litmus test. It's like you do dry week, right? Just check yourself on any dependency issues or any just detoxing, just making sure that you're still good. Prayer of lament is kind of like my check. It's like, hey, if you're not lamenting to God, this is just for me. I'm not saying it's for everybody, but for me, if God's not the person I want to run to in times of pain, there's some disconnect between us. Like something has happened for that to stop. And I'm doing it a lot right now.
Yeah.
I'm doing lament prayers a lot right now. I got a lot of stuff going on. And it's not, I don't know, I can't fully explain the value of it. Because a lot of the time, lament does come with asking God to change something. But there's a lot of times where lament is just asking why.
Yeah.
God, why is this happening to me? and having a space where you can ask these questions, you can scream, you can cry. I suspect, I don't know, do you think we've ever seen Jesus pray a prayer of lament?
I think that's the Garden of Gethsemane.
So I think it's probably two places. When Jesus can sit in the Garden of Gethsemane and say, "Take this cup from me," I feel like there's a little bit of lament in that.
Oh, I'm sure.
When Jesus gets news that Lazarus has died, and the text says Jesus wept, I bet there's some prayers of lament going on there.
Sure.
Now he goes and raises from the dead, so I don't know how much, but his sorrow was enough that he wept. Sure, there's some prayers of lament in there. Sometimes having a space where you can just say, "God, I'm not strong enough for this," and have the Lord say, "Yes, you are." It's comforting. Being able to ask the question, why? And then getting any kind of answer. It doesn't take away the pain. Your hurt, your disappointment, your frustrations, they still might be there.
Yeah.
But getting that little bit of clarity makes it hurt not quite as bad. Yeah. Lament and prayer of lament are very powerful things. Like I said, it's really easy to go to God when times are good. I mean, if you're rolling as a millionaire and you got the job you've always wanted and more money you know what to do with, it's really easy to be like, "Oh yeah, bless the Lord." It's in our deepest, most painful moments where we really know how we feel about the Lord. Because like I say, this is just for me. If he's not the person I want to go to in my moments of pain, I think I've missed it. Because if he's not the person that I want to go to in my pain, he's not the closest person relationship-wise in my life at that season. And that's who I want God to be. I want God to be the person that I want to go to. I want to be the person that God wants to go to. When God's got something to say or do to me, I want God to be able to come tell me.
Yeah.
And when I got qualms, I need him to know about them.
Yeah.
And I also think lots of times we don't do prayer of lament because we've given ourselves passes on prayer so much and we don't know how to pray. I believe that, by the way, that the average Christian does not know how to pray.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We need to be teaching people how to pray. Because
absolutely.
that whole idea of like, "Oh, yeah, you're just talking to Jesus like a friend." No.
It don't work that way.
No. You got to learn how to pray. And to pray well and consistently, it's not that easy.
Yeah. Which is a part of why we're doing this series.
Exactly. Lament prayer, it's a difficult one because by its very nature, you're upset with a situation and you're going to let the person that can do something about it know. It's a very scary thing, and that's why it's a powerful moment. Because you've gotten a bad grade, and you know you deserved an A. You know you should have gotten better than this. And you're not going to the teacher. You're going to the principal, the one who can actually make a difference about this. And it's scary to walk in there and go, hey, what's happened to me is dysfunctional. What's happened to me isn't right. And I need you to do something about it. Now, once again, just like in that metaphor, you may not get the change you want, but that doesn't mean nothing's going to happen.
Right.
I am beginning to believe more and more that in all of our prayers and anything, God works on his own timetable, not mine. So just because I go in prayer of lament, that doesn't mean that God's going to just fix it instantaneously. But because it doesn't happen instantaneously, also doesn't mean God's not fixing it.
It also doesn't mean that that necessarily anything is going to change at all.
Correct. No. Well, I would disagree, but I know where you're going, so I'm going to let you do it.
Okay. There are some times that God has a plan with something that is grieving you, and you're taking it to God, and you're like, I don't know why this is going on. I don't know what's happening. I need you to change this, but it's in God's plan, right? Like Jesus in the garden. That had to happen. So it doesn't mean that anything is actually going to change, but you're getting it off your heart and you're venting to God. And maybe the thing that will change is that he can give you a peace about it.
Yeah. The only thing that I would disagree with there is, and it's not even a disagreement, it's a caveat. Maybe nothing is going to change externally.
Well,
Maybe
that's what I
your
meant.
situation is not going to change. But no matter what, through any time of grief, frustration, sorrow, anytime you're in prayer of lament, God is changing you.
Yeah.
It's not just about getting peace. I can get peace and God hadn't changed
That's
anything. Fair. God is changing you.
Mm.
It's moments of pain where we find the most transformation of our character into the conformity of Christ.
Yeah.
It's in those moments where we learn how much God actually loves us because we feel it. We get it. That in our pain, we can look back to Jesus' own prayer. Lord, take this from me, God. But he takes it on himself. You will experience change. The question is it internal only or internal and external? Because there will be change. I want to end with this quote from Anne Voskamp. Lament is a cry of belief in a good God, a God who has his ear to our hearts, a God who transfigures the ugly into beauty. Complaint is the bitter howl of unbelief in any benevolent God in this moment, a distrust in the love beat of the Father's heart.